They finally did it. The big camera companies have finally reversed that trend, that downward market trend that started in 2011. But is this just a blip, or is this the beginning of a new trend? Details coming up, but first I encourage you to subscribe and choose all notifications so that way you can stay up to date on all the latest camera gear, news, and rumors. CIPA is an international industry association consisting of members engaged in the development, production, and of course sale of imaging-related devices, including digital cameras. They also compile statistics on worldwide camera shipments, and 2022 is shaping up to be, well, a very good year. Now, not very good for some industries, but for the camera industry, well, 2022 is, well, it's looking very good. 2022 did get off to a bad start compared to 2020 and 2021, but reversed that downward trend in March, surpassing 2020 in May and 2021 in June. And it's been pretty much growing every month ever since. Now, there was a minor blip in August, but if we look at this trend line, we can see that since May, since June, 2022 has been in a steady upward trend. In fact, 2022 has been going so well, it's easy to predict that 2022 is going to outship and most likely outsell. But these are CIPA shipped numbers, not sold. However, as with 2020 and 2021, what we're seeing is a lot of camera goods are still in short supply. So we can see, we can expect, we can predict that the units sold are pretty close to the units shipped. And what we can see for the rest of the year, if we just get, and this is really low, if we look at 2020 and 2021, if we just get 250,000 units shipped in November and another 250,000 units shipped in December, well then 2022 will outperform last year and 2020. But is this a blip? Is this just, we're having a bit of a good year? Well, let's start off with November. We had two major camera announcements. We had the Canon EOS R6 Mark II, which started shipping just a couple of days ago. And based on what I'm seeing on B&H through my analytics, I can see that it's definitely shipping. I've seen several cameras shipped out for the R6 Mark II. And if you pre-ordered using my links down below, a big thank you to you. But we also got a Sony camera, the Sony A7R5, and that started shipping several weeks ago. So we should get a bit of a bump in November, and of course, we'll get a bump into December as well. The Canon EOS R6 Mark II didn't start shipping until just a couple of days ago, so we're going to really see a bigger bounce in December for Canon than we are in November, but Sony's going to do well, help pick up those numbers in November. So I expect both November and December to continue that trend, to get a bit of a bump, not like the bump we got in 2020, and that was largely due to, well, the Canon R5 and the Sony A7S III and the Canon EOS R6. All three cameras did really, really well. We saw that big bounce right here. And then, of course, things started to settle off in December. But that's what I'm wondering about here. What are we going to see into 2023? So yes, 2022 is going to do better than 2021 and 2020. And let's take a bit of a pause right there before I get into 2023. We're seeing for the first time in, 10, 11 years, that the camera market, the sales for shipped units, is actually increasing for the first time in 10 years. But is this just a blip? That's the question I was asking in the beginning. Will this continue? Will this trend continue and we see the market continue to increase into 2023? Well, it's likely. It's definitely possible. Nikon's due to release several cameras. The follow-up to the Z6 and Z7, we should see the Z6 Mark III and the Z7 Mark III sometime in the second half, along with the much anticipated Nikon Z8. And what's holding Nikon up is a bunch of parts. So they're ready to go with these cameras. It's just the parts, they're not getting the parts to be able to make nearly enough of these units to announce them to the market and get them out there. And then, of course, we have Canon. They're still playing catch up to their own DSLR line. What about the 5D Mark IV, the RS version, the high megapixel version of the 5D? Well, that still is rumored for 2023, but we don't have anything credible. So that camera still hasn't been refreshed. The 1DX Mark III, the R3 is not a refresh of that camera. We still don't have a mirrorless refresh of their flagship mirrorless camera, and that might not even come till 2024. So we're not looking for that camera to come out in 2023. But also the EOS R and the RP, they were announced and released way back in 2018 and 2019. And they're definitely due for a refresh, and we're expecting a second half announcement. Although CP Plus is a good time to see these, as well as another entry-level APS-C camera, the R50. And what just started a few days ago, we started getting rumors of the Canon EOS R5 Mark II. That's right, the Canon EOS R5 Mark II. Many of you thought, well, you know what, we already got the R6 Mark II, So let's tune our radars. Let's get our antennas pointed in the right direction because we think the R5 Mark II is coming out. We're looking for a Q2 announcement, so that would be April, May, or June. Generally, May is a really good time for announcements. In April, we generally have NAB 2023. It's all about broadcast, cinema, that kind of stuff. So I wouldn't expect the R5 Mark II to be announced on or around that trade show. I'd expect it to come afterwards. And based on what we've seen over the last couple of years, NAB usually happens somewhere between, the 15th and the 24th of April, because we have Easter at the beginning, and generally camera companies want to stay away from any international major holidays or anything like that. So I'm predicting a May announcement for the Canon EOS R5 Mark II. So if we get that camera alone, we saw what happened in 2020 with that big bump and that big spike. So the Canon EOS R5 Mark II, several entry-level cameras. These are where camera companies make most of their money. So Canon, Nikon, we're expecting a lot of cameras that will boost sales. We're expecting more lenses. But what about Sony? What about Panasonic? And what about Pentax? Well, first of all, Sony doesn't have to play catch-up. Sony's just looking at their lineup and saying, okay, this camera came out 2 years ago, this camera came out 3 years ago or 4 years ago, let's do a refresh. And Sony's slowly going through their lineup. They've already refreshed several cameras. Recently, the A7R5, so I don't really expect too much of a surprise from Sony, although with all the latest cameras coming out pushing technology, such as the Nikon Z9, I wouldn't be surprised if late in 2023, Sony does do a refresh of the Alpha 1, but we'll just have to wait and see. There's no rumors on that, but the real big expectation is also from Panasonic. And if Panasonic comes out in the spring or even in the first quarter and says, hey, look, we're doing a refresh of our S series, the S1, the S1R, the S1H, and by the way, folks, we've got a brand new autofocus system for you that's going to be throwing away contrast detect, whether it's using some sort of LiDAR or a phase detect autofocus system. If it's accurate, trustworthy, and reliable, well, we can expect something really big in terms of bounce in camera sales from Panasonic as well. So with a refresh expected from Canon, Nikon, and Panasonic, I'm expecting that 2023 is going to be a better year than 2022. And if you want to stay up to date on all the latest camera news and rumors, such as camera statistics or the latest news and rumors on your favorite camera models, then please go ahead and subscribe. It also helps the channel grow. And also something else that also helps this channel, if you're looking at purchasing anything, any of the gear that I talk about on this channel, use my links down below because it doesn't cost you anything and I get about 2% back. And I want to tell you about a really good deal going on right now. This is something I purchased just the other day ago. It's the Manfrotto 504X with aluminum tripod. And you'll see it also comes with a headphone and a Bluetooth adapter for this headphone. And this is actually retailing for around $670. But if you buy it right now, the whole kit together, it's $750. It's half off. And even the regular price of the Manfrotto 504X with aluminum tripod is, around $999? I bought this 2 years ago with $300 off for $568 shipped, taxes paid to Canada. And I just bought this, a used version of it, for $594. But here's the real secret here. If you don't need any headphones, then once you get it, take the box, flip it on Kijiji, Craigslist, or eBay, and even on the best estimate, you can save yourself $200, dropping that price from $749 to $549. And maybe if you can get $300 or even $400, well, then you drop the price even more. I love the Manfrotto 504X. I have two of them. One of them I have in the studio right here. It's every time I want to put the camera down, it's click, slam it into place, and within 30 seconds, I'm ready to go. And now that I've got one upstairs for the Studio B, and that's also an outside one too. So when I'm shooting the stars, shooting the planets, it's so rock steady that I don't see a lot of jerking, even when I've got the equivalent of 3600 millimeters. It's just an absolutely wonderful tripod. So again, I've got the link down below because there's several 504X packages, but this one here, $759 or $749, it's still on sale right now. But thank you so much for watching. Again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and choose all notifications. But that's it for now. Have yourself a great weekend, and we'll talk to you again soon.